standing here with me. Hi everybody, this is Monica from Huckleberry Mountain Botanical School of Herbalism, and today's live is going to be about calendula, but I want to show you a couple of really simple recipes that can allow you to bring calendula into your day rather than thinking of it as having to make a tincture or even a tea, which I am going to show you a tea blend today. Let's talk first. First of all, I want to let you know this is not medical advice. This is for educational purposes only. So everything that I say, please don't take that as me giving you medical advice or anything for your personal health. So, I don't know what medications or other things that you are taking currently. So you need to take control of your own health and always be willing to look into things, okay? All right, so calendula, I want to talk about that because this is one of the things that I think a lot of people are familiar with calendula. It's one of those very, very famous skin herbs, wonderful for skin healing and softening, and especially if you've got issues with like eczema or things like that, it's really nice, and it's a nice soothing one for even dry, chapped hands and things. But when we have any herb that is good for our external skin, that means it's also good for our internal skin. So this is a really, really great herb to use for gut healing. If you have issues with ulcers or IBS, it goes in and helps to begin the healing process and to increase cell proliferation, meaning that it's going to increase the rate at which the healing is taking place. It's also currently being studied in mainstream science. There are some herbs that are being studied. Of course, they're pulling out constituents. They're not using the whole herb, but it is being studied for its anti-cancer as well as an anti-HIV agent, which is really, really intriguing, and it'll be interesting to see how all of that pans out. It's because it's good for healing. It also makes a great mouthwash if you're dealing with gum infections or any kind of mouth irritation, like cold sore, those canker sores that you can get inside your mouth, or any irritations, like if you're eating Doritos. You shouldn't eat a lot of Doritos, but let's just say you're eating Doritos and the Dorito pokes the roof of your mouth. This would be a perfect thing to use as a mouthwash to be able to help begin to heal that wound from the thing you shouldn't probably be eating anyway. Culpeper, in the 17th century, he was an herbalist. He had some kind of wacky ideas about a lot of things, but he has a wonderful herbal out there that's actually free. You can access it online. He touted it as a really good remedy for the heart. And modern research has actually proven that to be correct. It's shown it's very anti-inflammatory, and it helps to heal and protect cells from destruction in the heart. And with arrhythmia, it's actually on par with something like hawthorn, which is a very famous cardiac tonic. And the last thing I'm going to talk about with calendula is it is a well-known lymphagogue. Now, lymphagogue is basically something that gets the lymphs moving. It's slightly stimulating, but it's not over-the-top stimulating like some things like cayenne. It has a mild stimulating effect and gets the lymphatic system moving, and that means that it also helps with your immune system. There's actually a lot of really great things with calendula. So what I'm going to do real quick is show you a super, super easy recipe. I'm taking it out of that book I talked about yesterday. Okay, the homegrown herbs, and I'll put a link for that again. And this is her hearty vegetable slow cooker soup. Now, I am doing it in the slow cooker today, but honestly, most of the stuff that I cook in my Instant Pot, and it just makes things super quick. However, if you're wanting to leave it all day and then come home from work or come home from running errands or whatever and have your soup ready, this is a really great recipe to use. So I'm starting out with bone broth, and in her thing here, she has vegetable or chicken broth. We make homemade bone broth, but you can use chicken broth. You can use water with bouillon cubes. Hopefully you can find, not the cubes necessarily, but the kind of better paste base that you can use. But I highly recommend making bone broth, especially, well, actually only if you can get a hold of organic bones. I'm using chicken because I really do like the flavor of chicken, and we pre-flavor ours. So not only do we put a bunch of goodness and yummies in it, but we go ahead and flavor it so that people can just grab it out of the fridge and warm up a mug of stuff. Another way to do it when you're making bone broth is to make it really concentrated and strong, and then freezing it in cubes, and then just pouring some hot water on it, and you have a nice hot broth. Okay, now we did carrots. I try to remember 4 to 5 carrots. So peel and cube them. You know, I was talking to Lindy earlier today, and she was like, well, how big do you want me to cut, you know, the potatoes? One of the ways that that I decide how big I want something, because there's chopped, there's rough chopped, there's finely chopped, there's minced, there's diced. I mean, right, there's all these things. I think of recipes as sort of a loose guide. I don't follow them step by step. I don't follow every single thing they tell me to do. I'm trying to be careful about it today because I'm demonstrating it, and if I start going too, you know, crazy, you guys are going to be confused. So how you can determine what size you want your vegetables is figure out like how big are our spoons and what kind of bite do I want. If you make too big of chunks, you're only going to get like a potato. But if you want a little bit of potato and carrot, and we're putting in some barley, then you need to make them a little bit smaller. Okay, so this is 2 medium potatoes. All right, you know, in her recipe, she calls for like a French sorrel, and that would have added a nice tartness, but we don't have any right now and couldn't find any at a local market. So I'm actually using kale, but if I even had some regular sorrel, some oxalis, what is it called?
I can't remember right now. Okay. It's like oxalis.
Yeah, oxalis. It's a little shamrock looking sorrel, and it's very tart and delicious. I probably would throw that in here too because it'll add a tartness to it. All right, this is when our calendula is coming into play. When you use the calendula, I want you to use the stem portion as well and break that up. I went ahead and broke things into pretty small pieces. You don't want to leave it in big chunks in there, okay? This one is a light yellow. I have had some calendula that was really, really bright orange. So this won't add a ton of color to it, but it'll add some. We're doing a 1/4 cup of barley, and this is, what is that called? Hulled or whatever barley. And garlic. She called for, let me look. Okay, this is something I changed. 4 cloves of garlic. I put more like 8 because we love garlic. And what I'll be doing is actually adding garlic right before we serve, because cooking actually takes away some of the medicinal qualities of the garlic. But it is also antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-inflammatory. So it's a really nice thing to add. Plus, it just tastes delicious. I mean, my gosh, seriously. Who doesn't like garlic? Please tell me you like garlic.
I like garlic.
That's good. All right. She called for 1 bay leaf. I'm doing 2 because I like it. And then we have sage and thyme and rosemary, each a 1/4 teaspoon. One cool thing about these, you guys, is that they're all part of the mint family. Isn't that's pretty awesome, because they have such distinct different tastes, but they're all part of the mint family. And they are also stimulants, and a couple of them are really useful as brain tonics to help improve memory. So rosemary and, no, is it sage? I think it's rosemary and sage. All right, so I'm gonna put that in there. And then we have 1 whole onion. I made these a little bit smaller. I might even do a video sometime on cutting onion, because some people seem to have a really hard time with cutting onion. All right, so we have everything in there. I feel like I should stir it, because there's really not that much liquid. I might add a little more liquid to mine, but I'm gonna let it do its thing for a while, because some of these vegetables will release some of their liquid as well. And there we have it. Super, super simple. And you'll just stick this on She recommends, I think, doing it on high for half an hour and then sticking it on low for the remainder of the day. And then when it's done, it's done. Okay, I'm gonna hand this off to Lindy. And then really quick, I'm going to show you a super easy tea blend that you can do, especially if you're someone that's dealing with, and again, this is not medical advice, you know, irritated stomach or ulcers or those types of things, and you're looking for something to help heal the gut. The herbs that I'm doing today are not only calendula, but also plantain and then peppermint. Peppermint is really good for digestion, and it also just tastes delicious. So fortunately, my plantain and my peppermint are both things that I harvested last year. My calendula, yeah, I ran out of my calendula flowers. I need to plant more calendula. Okay, so I'm going to use a 1/4 cup, but you can use any amount you want. If you want to make a large, I love garlic too. Yes, Kana, finally. I don't like Nutella, but I love garlic. We're garlic sisters. You can use really any measuring cup you want. You can do this by weight if you want, but really it's not necessary. So if you want to make a large amount so that you can just go over and grab some and make a quick cup of tea, then use a cup. You can use a bucket. I don't care, you know, make as much as you want. I'm using a 1/4 cup, and I'm going to be putting the plantain. Well, I haven't broken mine down super small yet. Yours will probably, if you're buying it, will be smaller than mine. Since I brought my own in, I don't like to break it very small, because when you the smaller you break it, the faster it's going to lose its medicinal value. So I keep mine in pretty big pieces. I will be cutting it and breaking it down now, but I think I'm just gonna put 1 scoop of plantain, and I'm going to do 2 of calendula, and I'll be breaking that down as well, because some of these stems, well, they're not stems, they're actually called receptacles, are kind of chunky. And if you're using a smaller tea ball or something, it might be difficult to kind of finagle them in there. My peppermint isn't super small either. And peppermint has a nice flavor, but I am only gonna use 1 scoop here. So I've got 1 of peppermint, 1 of plantain, and 2 of calendula. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and break it up. And not only is this really, really good for your stomach, but it's delicious. It really is, it tastes good. Now, the beauty of using the mint is that you can change that out for other, you know, for other things. You can put lemon balm in there. You could do part peppermint and part lemon balm, or you could even, use something like lavender. But if you're going to do lavender, be very careful. It's extremely strong and can get quite bitter, especially if you steep it too long. So I'm going ahead and breaking, I've got some pretty big leaves in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just break this down. And then when I go to use it, I'll show it to you in 1 second. I found a couple of stems here too, so I'm just removing those stems. It's okay to find stems when you're going through, because sometimes even when I bring in my own plants, there's stems still on them, and I just store them with them. But I just break them off before I put them in a tea mix or make a tea or a tincture or whatever it is you're doing. All right, so this isn't super, super small, but man, I can smell the mint. It smells so good. I can't wait until my garden is actually producing and I'm able to go out and get fresh mint and lemon balm every day. And it really is every day, and especially considering that the mint just grows like a maniac, and I have to cut it back. It's nice when I have apprentices so that they can take the mint and the lemon balm, and they take it and it's like nothing left. they go in there like, I'm gonna chop it down. I'm like, okay, and they leave and it's like this tiny little haircut has happened. It's really pretty funny. All right, so with this, I would use a couple of teaspoons or a tablespoon in 8 ounces of water, and let it steep for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you will be able to drink. So it makes this pretty yellow and green blend, and it smells so wonderful because of that mint that's in there. So, ew, Nutella covered garlic, that's disgusting. Hi, Janet. Okay, so I think that is it. You got a little bit of the benefits of calendula, and there are so many. I'll be putting together a monograph that I'll be putting in my free course content. So if you want that, just follow the link to that. That should be up in the next few days. And I've got a lot of other information on there about other herbs and other recipes and things for you to use and make. So I will be going live again next Tuesday, and I'm trying to go back to my normal time of 11 o'clock. So I hope that you can join me then, and I'm not 100% sure what I'll be talking about yet, but I'll figure it out and I'll post it on my Facebook page. Thanks for joining me. Health and joy.